The tension in the WWE universe had reached a boiling point long before the interview ever began. War Games was approaching, an event already surrounded by chaos, betrayal, and the kind of electricity only WWE's most dangerous rivalries can create. At the center of it all was a single question swirling through the wrestling world like a firestorm. Would Seth Rollins secretly help the Vision inside War Games? Rumors had exploded across social media. Fans speculated endlessly. Analysts debated the possibility on every show. Seth Rollins, the architect, the visionary, the man who had once built factions and torn them down with the same intensity, suddenly found himself accused of aligning with the one group that had been causing anarchy on Raw and SmackDown, the Vision, led by Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, and a rising legion of dangerous talent. But tonight, Seth wasn't stepping into a ring. He was stepping into a hot seat. WWE scheduled a sit-down interview, the kind designed to extract truth, expose lies, and get answers even if every word added more fire to the chaos already burning. Fans packed into the arena as the lights dimmed and the Titantron flickered to life. Seth Rollins appeared on screen, sitting in a darkened studio, elbows on his knees, hands clasped, staring at the floor with a look that only a man with too much on his mind could have. The interviewer began with the easy questions. How was Seth preparing for War Games? How was his recovery going after the brutal backstage attacks from Breaker's crew? Did he believe his team had what it took to survive the most unforgiving match in WWE history? But everyone watching knew the real question was coming. It came sooner than expected. The interviewer leaned back, took a deep breath, and delivered the line that sent a shockwave through the arena. Rumors say you've been in contact with the Vision. Some even claim you're planning to help them at War Games. What do you have to say to the WWE universe? The camera zoomed in on Seth Rollins' face. The visionary lifted his eyes slowly, revealing a cold, sharp intensity. Silence filled the arena. Fans held their breath. Then Seth Rollins spoke. What came out was not laughter. Not sarcasm. Not outrage. It was clarity. Cold, surgical clarity. Seth denied everything, but not in the way anyone expected. He did not shout. He did not overact. Instead, he leaned forward, speaking with the kind of honesty that forced you to listen. He explained that he had no allegiance to the Vision. No connection. No intention of helping them at War Games. He said that the rumors were born out of fear. Fear of his intelligence, fear of his unpredictability, fear of the history he carried as one of WWE's most dangerous manipulators. And yet, even as Seth denied helping the Vision, his eyes told a story of deeper conflict. Seth went on to break down his long and complicated history with betrayal. He spoke about the Shield. He spoke about the Authority. He spoke about every moment when whispers of betrayal turned into reality. But tonight, Seth insisted, things were different. He claimed he was focused, locked in, determined to win War Games for reasons far deeper than personal glory. This wasn't about championships. This wasn't about spotlight. For Seth, this was about respect. About legacy. About defending the foundations of a wrestling world he helped build. He reminded the world that the Vision tried to break him. They injured him. They humiliated him. They tried to send him home on a stretcher. And now people thought he would help them. That he would align with the very group that tried to take his career from him. Seth leaned back, shaking his head at the absurdity of it all. But the interviewer didn't let up. He pressed harder, asking whether Seth's past made it difficult for people to trust him. Whether fans had a reason to doubt his words. Whether his history of bending alliances to his advantage meant he might still turn at War Games, even if he denied it now. Seth smiled, but not the wild, chaotic laugh fans were used to. This was a knowing smile. A smile of a man who understood something the world didn't. He explained that trust was earned, not granted. And he intended to earn that trust inside War Games by doing exactly what he always did, stealing the show, taking the spotlight, burning down everything in front of him, and proving to the world that he did not need to align with anyone. Least of all the Vision. But the questions kept digging deeper. What about the footage of Seth talking to a hooded figure in the parking lot? What about the rumors of him exchanging messages with someone connected to Breaker's camp? What about the fact that the Vision had not once spoken negatively about Seth? What about Logan Paul publicly saying Seth Rollins was too smart not to see what the Vision is building? Every accusation, every claim, every whisper, Seth addressed them one by one. The hooded figure, a trainer helping him with mobility drills. The messages, a misinterpreted social media screenshot taken out of context. Logan Paul praising him. Seth said Logan was trying to manipulate public perception to weaken Seth's standing with his own team. Little by little, Seth dismantled every rumor. Yet, the underlying tension didn't fade. Because even as Seth denied helping the Vision, he made one thing very clear. He didn't trust anyone in War Games, not his enemies, not his teammates, and certainly not the WWE Universe's assumptions. He said War Games was every man's personal battlefield. And inside that steel structure, alliances meant nothing. Survival meant everything. He insisted that his promise wasn't to any team. His promise was to himself. To stand tall, to endure, to win. The interview took a dramatic shift when Seth was asked why the Vision even wanted him in the first place. Seth acknowledged something that many fans had suspected. The Vision admired him, wanted him, respected his influence. They saw him as an architect who could take them to the next level. But Seth also made it clear that admiration did not equal allegiance. He said the Vision wanted his mind, but they could never have his loyalty. And then Seth said something that made the arena react with a mix of cheers and confusion. He stated that if he had wanted to join the Vision, he would have done it already. He would not hide, he would not deny. If Seth Rollins wanted to betray someone, the betrayal would be loud, brutal, and unforgettable. But not this time. Seth insisted this War Games would not be about betrayal. It would be about retribution. Then things took a darker turn. Seth spoke about the pain, the injuries, the weeks of being targeted by the Vision, the limping, the backstage attacks, the chair shots, the disrespect. Seth described every detail with a cold, sharp precision. It was clear the wounds were still fresh, both mental and physical. He said that stepping into War Games wasn't just a match for him. It was payback. It was a declaration that he would not be broken, manipulated, or used by Braun Breaker or anyone aligned with him. Then the interviewer delivered one last bombshell. Can you guarantee the WWE Universe that you will not help the Vision at War Games? The arena went silent again. Seth leaned forward once more, his elbows resting on his knees, eyes burning with conviction. He said the WWE Universe deserved a guarantee. They deserved clarity. They deserved truth. And then he delivered it. Seth Rollins guaranteed he would not help the Vision. He repeated it with emphasis, as if carving it into the walls of WWE history. He said the only people he would be helping were the ones inside the cage fighting beside him, because win or lose, survival depended on unity, even if temporary. But then Seth added something that changed everything. He said he wouldn't help the Vision. But that didn't mean he trusted his own teammates. And it didn't mean he wouldn't burn someone down if he felt they deserved it. His guarantee wasn't a promise not to betray. It was a promise not to join the enemy. Seth made it clear that if anyone wanted to twist his words or predict his moves, they would fail. Because the only predictable thing about Seth Rollins was that he was unpredictable. As the interview neared its end, Seth stood up from his chair. He adjusted his jacket, took a deep breath, and stared into the camera with a chilling calmness. He then delivered the final message that echoed through the arena. At War Games, he wasn't fighting for the Vision. He wasn't fighting for his team. He wasn't fighting for the fans. He wasn't fighting for a brand. He was fighting for Seth freaking Rollins. He left the interview without a smile, without a laugh, without theatrics, just a burning determination. The camera lingered on the empty chair, capturing the feeling of a storm still gathering, not resolved. The arena went wild with speculation. Fans debated everything Seth said. Some believed him, some didn't. Some thought his denial was genuine. Others thought it was the biggest setup in War Games history. And backstage, the Vision reacted too. Braun Breaker stood watching the interview from a monitor, rage simmering behind his eyes. Logan Paul smirked, analyzing every word like a chess grandmaster reading a rival's strategy. The rest of the Vision stood silent, unsure of what Seth's denial truly meant. Because denial didn't equal safety. Denial didn't equal loyalty. Denial didn't equal predictability. Seth Rollins had removed himself from their narrative, but the possibility of chaos remained. War Games was coming. The cage was being constructed. Careers were on the line. Trust was fragile. And Seth Rollins, despite denying any alliance with the Vision, had ensured one thing. Everyone would be watching him more closely than anyone else inside that structure. Whether he fought beside his team or burned them to ashes was a question no one, not even his teammates, could fully answer. But one thing was undeniable. Seth Rollins had just changed the entire War Games landscape with a single interview. And when the door to the steel structure finally shut, his true intentions would be revealed.